it's no longer common, especially in American brewing, because our malt is much more advanced, and so we get a lot of our enzymes without having to go through this process. However, the German breweries that are still doing this are getting a character, a flavor specific to this decoction, and there are more American breweries starting to adopt it, and it's something that's really important to the lager program at Blackbird. So what we did with today, we made a Pilsner with Hallertau, Mittelfrüh, and Sapphire hops, and we took a third of the mash at the end of the boil, or at the end of the mash, to boil it for 5 minutes, and then transfer back into the lauter tun for our fourth enzymatic rest. One of the things, a couple things that you get from the decoction is you get Maillard reactions. Maillard reactions are going to drive flavor and color from an otherwise very pale base malt, and there's really nothing you can do with like specialty malts that can really mimic that particular character. The other thing it does, with our lagers, we're pouring them through a Czech faucet called a Lukr faucet. What that's doing is giving us called a wet foam, or a dense foam on top of the mug, and that's going to help in the aroma and just overall feel and presentation of the beer. And so by doing this decoction step, we're breaking high molecular weight proteins down into medium molecular weight proteins, and it's the medium proteins that make it to the final beer. So you're getting better head retention, and we should be able to get a more dense, fluffy, and longer lasting foam on those mugs.
Okay. What happens to all the other protein, the little protein and the big protein?
Yeah, so your three weights of protein, your low weight proteins, or the powdery proteins, they end up coagulating out of suspension once we chill the wort, and it's often called cold break. And so in the process of dumping and harvesting yeast and clarifying the beer, it just falls out of the bottom of the tank. The high molecular weight proteins, they get coagulated in the brew house at the end of the boil, and so we whirlpool the wort and get all of those proteins into the center, and we yield our wort out of the side of the vessel, leaving that behind. So at the very end of the brew day, we're dumping this thick, what's called trub, out of the tank. So it's those medium proteins that we really care about. And so there's the enzymatic step that we achieve in decoction is a glycoprotease rest. So those glycoproteins that would normally be in the trub, we want to convert them to live all the way through the final beer, thus giving a better head.